good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste and a very warm welcome to the Blub World Web Talks 263rd episode. In the last 262 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with more than 5,000 school leaders on this very platform, where they've shared their ideas, opinions, innovation, and what all amazing are they doing in the education space. तो नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड वेब टॉक्स के 263वें एपिसोड में। 262 एपिसोड में हमने करीबन 5,000 से ज्यादा शिक्षाविदों से बातचीत की और ये जानने की कोशिश की कि वो शिक्षा को कैसे बदल रहे हैं और शिक्षा उन्हें कैसे बदल रही है। But since today's episode is an exclusively global episode where we have school leaders from all over the world, we'll try to stick to only one language for this particular episode, that's English, so that everyone can comprehend the conversation and contribute more meaningfully to it. A very warm welcome to all of you. In each of these web talks, we lay down the ground rules before we start off. So just two things to remember before you start the conversation. First and foremost, think of the Blub World Web Talks like a speaking sprint. It's kind of a 100-meter race. It's not a marathon. So the speaking time is limited. And once your speaking time is over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It's just to keep the activity crisp and entertaining for everyone. Secondly, when the final 30 seconds of your speech duration are left, either Blub World will raise its hand or I'll raise my hands up in the air and you'll come to know that yes, the final 30 seconds are left, so you can conclude. If you miss out on anything, if you get muted, if there's any challenge, don't worry. There's an open floor at the end of the conversation where you can again add to the complete discussion. Try to make the most amazing points that you have. Understand today's generation loves brevity. So if you can put your thought through in the least amount of words, people enjoy it more. And I hope you also enjoy the session. We have a very interesting topic for today, where we are talking about a phenomenon which is the coaching sector of things, and specifically K-12 or coaching institutes or coaching centers that right now are a supremely bigger economy, rather than in some cities, even bigger than the schools themselves. They influence the decision making of parents, of teachers, of schools, everyone. They influence the ecosystem with all their might. What does the ecosystem think about it? That's what we are going to discuss today. What do the school leaders, the university leaders, and most importantly, what do the teenagers think about it? Today's conversation will be around, are coaching centers causing stress? And if they are causing that, can the law step in? So what we are looking at is suggestions from all the people who are there on the call on what do they think. Is that our career coaching institutes really adding to the efficiency, really adding to the result, or are they only adding stress and making things worse? And if that is the case, what do you think kind of legislations should come into effect to control it or to enhance it? What are your thoughts? That's what we'll know today in the 263rd episode of the Blub World Web Talks. So let me invite the first speaker for today to start this conversation or set the ball rolling. A very warm welcome to Miss Vani Bhalla, the Head of Admissions and Communications for Universal AI University in Karjat, Maharashtra, India. Before we go to Vani, she comes from the higher education space. So what does she think when a teen comes from the school to a university? Do they miss the coaching space? Do they want that to be there as well in the university? Or what has their experience been till now with teens and coaching? And what's their suggestion for legislation? Vani ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to kickstart this conversation. So, one experience which I would like to narrate in front of the audience is that we started our university, which is India's first AI university, 3 years back, and our flagship program, was BTech, which is very popular, like the engineering world. And when it came about engineering, every educator I used to meet, they were like, oh, go to Kota, just go and meet the kids over there. And trust me, I went there, and I don't know about the students, but I came back so much with stress. I stayed there for 3 days and I couldn't sleep. in 3 days in Kota, not because of the number of students were there, just because of the fact that I would have spoken to some 3,000 students, 4,000 students across 3 days, back-to-back sessions from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the evening. I wanted to speak about who we are, what we do, but I land up counseling them to stay happy all 3 days, because the faces I saw, every student I used to talk to, hey, what are your career aspiration, what do you want to do in your life? Half of them couldn't speak because they were so much pressurized to just getting into the marks. What they Even simple question like, what do you like doing, or can you just sing a song for me, or how do you spend your time? 80% of the crowd could not even tell me what they love doing, and they were only talking about how stressed they are, how much pressure they are into. And when I said, why didn't you tell your parents, they were like, no, parents don't even listen to us, and that was the eye opener for me. And when I saw this topic, I was kind of like so curious to, yes, to talk in this forum today. And I came back, and one thing I decided, that A, I am not going to Kota again. B, I not because of anything else, just because we wanted to bring a change. So what we did, which is an example probably, which I would like to share here, is that we do a lot of our research based with AI. So at a university, what we are trying to now build up, which we will of course further raise it to the coaching institutions and quotas of the world, is that by the walk. Okay, I see a hand already. Oh, okay, so I'll just give this example quickly. Okay, what we are kind of now doing at a university is, by the speed of a walk from the student when they enter the university gate to their dormitory, which is their accommodation or their hostel, we can engage and see whether that student is a depression or a stress student or not. So this is a AI based research which my psychology students are now doing. And once it is out, we would definitely will propose it to the schools, to the government, and to the law, that if that can work out, why not? So this is my closing remark on that. And another thing which
Thank you so much, Vani ji. The first 3 minutes were over, but we'll try to come back to you. So, all the people who might not be aware about Kota, Kota is basically a city in India that's considered to be the epicenter of the coaching ecosystem across this nation. All the major coaching institutes come out from that city. Just for everyone's reference, that city has a floating population of nearly 500,000 students. So you can imagine that's the kind of inflow of students that comes to that city, specifically preparing for competitive examinations and giving a lot more power to the coaching institutes. So it's now time to listen to the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Abhay Ghosh, the director for Shanti Asiatic School from Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India. Abhayji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
Good evening to all, my fellow panelists, and to you, Daksh. Uh, it's a topic which I think we have been discussing in schools and in our living rooms, and it happens in every home, I believe. But here the parents actually also have to see that what they want their children to do, and where is the choice given to the child? Are we giving any choice to the child or not? All the students who are going to these coaching centers, do they really want to go to these coaching centers? That's the $1 billion question. Because if the parents want them to become a doctor or an engineer or anything, they would just look for a very best coaching institute in the country, and they will just try to register and spend a lot of money, and then tell the child that, look, we are spending so much of money on you, so now you have to better get your results. Now that's where the pressure starts. And before even going to the cities like Kota, you just mentioned, before going to such cities, even the child is having that thing, the thought in the back of their mind, that I have to perform, I have to compete, I have to pass. All these questions are there. So and then going there, and the kind of rigor they have to go through, the kind of learning hours they have to spend, the peer pressure, and that fight for that percentage, and the fight for that 0.1 and 0.0025 and whatever it is, that makes them more stressed out. Now the question is that you talked about economy, and it's definitely it's a booming industry, and everybody, and we are all to be blamed for it. So I feel here we have to go back to the basics. And the basics is that when you open a school, when you send your child to a school, why do you send your child to a school? The question is that you send your child to a school for a 360-degree education. It is multidimensional. It is not unidimensional. It is not purely about academics. It is not purely about achieving marks. It's not purely about just getting through an examination with high percentage and so long and so forth. So I feel that's the basic. And the parents have to understand this when they admit their child to the school. While the child is coming to class 10, they start thinking, in class 9, class 8, they start thinking which coaching institute I will put my child in. And then some of the students, they also miss their schools and join these coaching centers. They are not part of school system anymore, which is even more dangerous. Are they not losing that crucial, very, very important, those 2-3 years of schooling, which the child really needs to be successful in life, to be learning those life skills? Are the coaching centers teaching them those life skills? And also the counseling, are they getting that counseling at coaching centers? The law agencies can step in here. I don't know how, but the child is under stress, and he.
Thank you so much, Abhay. The first 3 minutes were over. I think you added a very important point to the conversation, that why do you send a child to school? Is it really holistic development, or are you just preparing your investment portfolio? Do you consider that child as well? That, okay, this is the money that I'm putting into this individual, and that's the kind of returns that this will generate. So we have to understand the purpose, and most importantly, what you said at the end of it, that can the legislation really come at the counseling level? Is there somebody to really take care of these kids when they get into a so much performance driven, stress filled environment of a coaching institute? What is it that the legislation can really do? Thank you so much, Abhayji. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Miss Amy Lucas, the principal of Scholastic International School from Yangon, Myanmar. Miss Amy, over to you. What's your experience with the space, and do you think, what kind of legislation do you think should come into effect? And a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much. As we all know, tuition centres, coaching centres are booming across Asia, and Yangon is no exception. I've seen how big the industry is in Singapore as well. Parents often think that tuition is an investment in their child's future, but we do have to ask, are the tuition centres always the right way forward? On the positive side, tuition can give targeted academic support, especially in tough subjects like maths and science. And obviously, students get smaller one-to-one support. Many also benefit from the structure of that because it can prepare them for IGCSEs and so on. But for some Yangon students, tuition also offers access to resources that they might not get from their current school. So I think schooling is really, really important, and we do need to take it back to basics. But from the other side, the story is more complex. So research from South Korea and China shows that heavy tutoring links to stress and burnout and even depression, largely due to lack of sleep and constant comparison with peers. Here in Yangon, I've spoken with students, and sometimes their tutoring finishes at 9-10 p.m. at night, leaving very little time for rest, sports or family life. Tuition can also be financially draining, as it's already been discussed, and that just adds more pressure on the families, and it leaves students feeling like they have to justify themselves even more, which adds another layer of stress. Globally, the evidence is mixed. Large-scale reviews show that tutoring can boost achievement. I think we all know that, especially for students who are struggling or they're attending lower quality schools. Bloom's famous 2 Sigma study also showed that one-to-one tuition can also lift performance dramatically. But when tutoring is poorly designed or piled on top of an already heavy workload, the benefits are far less than clear. So for me, I think the key is balance. In Yangon, where competition for university places is fierce and cultural expectations around education are high, tuition isn't going to go away, but parents, teachers and tutors need to reframe the purpose. Less about racing ahead and constant drilling, and more about building confidence. and filling genuine gaps in knowledge and protecting our young people's well-being. I think as schools, we have a real responsibility to help our young people. We want them to find balance, whether it's through playing sport, learning a new instrument, or simply spending time with friends and family. That seems to have got lost along the way. If tuition in Yangon and beyond is to be truly good for high school students, it must complement school learning, not replace it. It must support and not suffocate. Academic success matters, but so does the rest of life, creativity and social development. Let's use tuition as a tool for growth and not as a tool for pressure.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amy. And I think you're very right when you say that typically these coaching institutes in other names, in other formats, in other positionings are there across Asia. And when you really look at some of the Asians settled in European countries or in the US, you can see there are specific Chinese learning centers that are specifically designed to give them the extra academic edge or, give them the extra pressure that might be missing from a regular public or a private school. So is it something really correlated to our population? Do Asians really look at the coaching institutes as their key to cutting out the clutter and being there at the forefront? Because even in very developed nations, we see students from grade 5 and 6, and specifically in Asian communities, preparing on how to get into an Ivy League university. Is it the right time to really judge that? Let's know from the other speakers. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Ms. Bharathi Chillakuri, the principal of St. John's EM High School from Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh, India. Ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Namaste, sir. Good evening, everyone who are in this Zoom platform. According to me, education is not about filling of mind with pressure, but about lighting the fire of curiosity. But coming to this, NEP 2020 is also insisting in India this, but how much we are giving freedom to the kid is a multi-millionaire question. And one more thing is, tuition centers definitely in one side, if we see the parents who are really busy with their work and all, it will help. Instead of that, instead of the help, the hidden cost is the loss of joy, health, and creativity in children's lives. So that only we are all talking about these tuition centers. Once upon a time, especially our Andhra Pradesh, if we see the education, the literacy rate is very low. So that parents depend on tuition centers. The tuition centers are definitely helped them. But now, in this situation, and the young parents, modern parents also expecting that children stayed much time in the school or tuition center is safe for them. That is also one of the factor as they are sending tuition center. And tuition center also, they are feeling it as a their status. If they go an academy or resonance like that, there are some branded organizations or byju's, so that okay, your child is going to this organization, this tuition center, definitely my child also should go. So that they are investing more money and is sending them, and how much we are counseling, this is not important. And in the school only, we are helping in different ways, and life skills and all also we are giving training. Even though parents, they will listen, and second coin, immediately they go and they compare with their colleagues, and the next moment they are ready to send them. And we are suggesting, instead of sending tuition, you can select any hobby which will help them to grow physically and mentally. But these people, they are not ready to send for different hobbies. Instead of that, the core subject is academics, so that they are pressurizing, stressing the children to learn more or to focus more on academics. This is and second thing is, as some of the panelists mentioned, that definitely here the government or some laws can be helped. Uh, at the same time, parents, teachers, or school principals, we all education sector only help to counsel. Through counseling only we can solve these issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bharti ma'am. I think another perspective to discussion that now a coaching center really equates to your LV bag or your coach tie that you might have. It's your status symbol as a parent, are you really looking at coaching centers this way? Then I think their branding has worked amazingly well, but your decision making has gone down the drain. So think of more options. This is not the way to judge anyone's status, and you're simply making lives worse. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me have the next speaker for today, Dr. Daud Ved, who's the director for Golden Sparrow Hub School from Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. Daud, sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Daksh, and everybody. Good evening. I just arrived from Muscat, Oman today morning. And, as I was just traveling in the new city, I saw Physics Wala there. And I'm like, wow, we have arrived. It's like man on moon. Mahesh Tutorial, An Academy, Baiju. XYZ, any coaching institute. And for all those who do not know, these are some of the very popular ones in India. They are part of a child's growing up years, just like for a middle, the economy, death and taxes are completely okay for us. This is how it is. A child will go through a coaching center, like it or do not like it. In fact, I was at Shark Tank India and we didn't get selected with my micro school, but Vani ma'am mentioned about Kota, and I love her institute, by the way. Something amazing people should visit. In Kota, our coaching institutes are making our children. I'm looking at the brighter side. There are anti-suicide fans out there. Students are making those. So hats off. They're doing good. I mean, why are we here complaining when the happiest countries in the world are the Scandinavian countries, and the suicide rates are the highest there. So, well, anti-suicide air conditioners, maybe. I don't think they need, these cold countries need ACs. But let's look at the brighter side. Coaching is not bad. We kind of, made a monster of coaching. Anything big is bad. Reliance is bad because they're too big. Big bad wolf. I think it's the idea of this coaching that is wrong. The same way, we've come. Copying is not cheating. I have got daughters, and my younger one calls me Abba, and I say, hey, don't copy the elder one. Mujhe kuch naya batao. Call me dad. No, they will copy each other. We've copied the helicopters to, the dragonflies to make. The idea is, let's relook at it. Maybe it's not the coaching centers. It's the way we approach the coaching centers. Hopefully we can be more collaborative than competitive. Where we as a nation, we have very large population. You have to streamline, you have to filter, but maybe the way we are streamlining is wrong. So that's my perspective. Number one is, do not look at the monster called coaching center. Man, they are great source to the economy. But ma'am, just before me talked about Andhra, schools have become coaching centers. That's problematic. No, we aren't enjoying school anymore. So that's one. Option number two is micro schooling. I mean, again, sorry to take the leaf out of the schools in Gulf. There are 9,000 students in this one Indian school, CBSE school in Muscat. I'm like, that's like an ecosystem out there. That's like entire Karjat, Vani, man. And for all of you, I'm sorry. I mean, you do need a coaching center to give you some kind of sensibility, some kind of, and I think I like what Sir said. You need career guidance. That's number two. Finally, can a schools be project? Can coaching itself, can the competitive exam be a subject itself? And hopefully our children will learn to love the idea of coaching. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daud. I think you started with an amazing quote that when you see a physics wala in Muscat, Oman, that's when you really feel that, yes, we have arrived as a country. We're able to put brands in places where they're not needed, and we've made them critical. So we are even commercially successful in a completely new country and a completely new ecosystem. You're right. Let's not look at them as institutions. Look at these as a phenomenon. And can you really transform that phenomenon in a way where we could bring back a little bit of a joy in the purpose of teaching and learning, which we have lost through the process of only achieving hefty packages when the degree comes to an end, or when the high school comes to an end, getting into an Ivy League university. The phenomenon is the challenge, not the institution. And you're very right when you say, if you haven't been to Kota, that's such a city to travel to for every single academician, just to know how pathetic life could become if education is only performance driven. Just imagine a single building. I won't name the coaching institute. I've been to Kota multiple times. One building that houses more than 40,000 children who come out of that building every day at 6 p.m. India time. And they're just going there in small, crammed up classrooms to perform. do we really need such a performance is something to question. Let's go to the next speaker for today. Very warm welcome to Miss Harpreet Kaur Gujral, the Vice Principal of Sri Vidya Niketan International School from Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh, India. Harpreet ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very
Good
warm
evening, namaskar to everybody present here. Well, today's topic is something which is very, very alarming, and I feel we require legal intervention, not by banning the institutes, but to protect the mental health of the children. The students going to the coaching centers, they just enter the school in the morning at, early morning, they leave because of the distances. They reach school, they finish the schooling, and then, till late hours, they're there in the coaching center. They are losing on their happy quotient in life today. There is no time for them to spend with their parents. There is no time for them to even think what is right and what is wrong, what interests them and what is not interesting for them. They are getting into the rat race. We have been discussing about quota. Quota is a hub of education, no doubt on it. But you see, the societal notes are alarming. That means the children's mental health is not protected. The parents are living up their dreams in their children because they want to get them better future. But they are not catering to the interest of the child. Not every child is as intelligent to be a doctor, but at the same time, he might have the talent to become a CA. Why those opportunities are being taken away? Why are major coaching centers just focusing on, IIT, NEET, JEE preparations? This is alarming, and I certainly feel that law must step in by, putting on timings, strict timings for the coaching centers. The government has banned, after 11, you cannot play DJs in the party. Then why this ban is not coming on the education? If the child has to study, after a couple of hours, the coaching centers must close and the child should go and do self-study. That is very important in today's scenario, which is just missing drastically. Until the child realizes his or her potential, no matter what, the child will not be able to perform because he is not driven by his likes. He is driven by the likes of the educational sector, maybe the coaching institutes. We're talking about holistic development, but coaching centers only emphasize on rote learning. As sir said, in the morning, the students go and they're crammed inside one room and they're just coming out in the evening. Where are we talking about holistic development? Where are we implementing the coaching, the NEP? Let us all, I would conclude by saying, it is a matter where we must tell the parents, we must apprise them what is right and what is wrong.
Thank you so much, Harpreet ma'am. I think you're right when you say the counseling has to happen for the parents as well. The point when you look at this whole purpose, the phenomenon that we were really talking about really comes to this, that a parent is not able to see any other career as a financially viable career. They don't see other options. They think that this is the only way my child could become financially independent and may never see any distress in life. So the challenge is not really, going against institutions. It's rather building an ecosystem where people come to know about the new age careers, and most importantly, careers that could really be financially in making children financially independent. Thank you so much, Harpreet ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Harsh Singh Parihar, the principal for Kerala Educational School from Hardoi, Uttar Pradesh, India. Harsh ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
So, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, sir, for having me here. And I completely agree with your statement, when you said that coaching centers are one of the biggest economies in the world. So when I came across this topic, the topic of today's session, the picture, came into my mind. Whenever I walk past a coaching hub, I see young faces with heavy bags, tight schedules, and sometimes even heavier hearts. And it makes me wonder, are we really teaching our children how to solve equations, or are we simply teaching them to, like, how to live under pressure? Coaching centers today are like a double-edged sword, and like we have to agree on this. On one hand, they have helped thousands of students crack examinations like JEE and NEET. Many successful people would also say that I would not be here without my coaching, which is true to some extent. But on the other side, we have all read those heartbreaking headlines as well, especially from Kota, as it was mentioned by our previous speakers also, where students break under stress. That clearly tells us something is deeply broken in this system. And the stress isn't just about studying hard. So imagine a 16-year-old boy away from home, studying 12 hours a day, surrounded by almost 500 equally bright minds, okay, who are as capable of as capable as him. One small slip in marks feels like the end of the world. In that environment, comparison replaces confidence, and that's absolutely true. Learning stops being joyful for the children. Childhood gets, itself gets exchanged for rank list. So now the question comes that can the law solve this? I feel to some extent, yes, laws can regulate fees, put limits on coaching hours, and the most important point to which I completely agree that they should immediately stop the flashy ads and glorify toppers like some states have already started doing so. But let's be honest, laws cannot sit beside a child at 2 a.m. when the child is crying over a failed mock test. Laws cannot remind that one exam is not the end of their life. And the law can, I feel the law can only give the structure, but it cannot give the comfort to that weeping child. So I come from a school, like if I talk about myself, which is located in a rural area, and we face this problem in a very real way. Many parents here believe without coaching, my child won't be able to succeed, and they just but instead of pushing children into that grind, we try to strengthen our classrooms. And I think that is the real solution. I mean, parents need to pause and ask, am I seeing my child only as a future doctor or engineer, or am I seeing them as a human being? Thank you so much.
You're very right, Harshji, that legislation might be able to provide a structure, but it won't be able to provide a lot of support. Because policing is never the solution when you want a behavioral change. Behavioral change has to be incited, it has to be ingrown, it cannot be forced on anyone. I would just like to add a little more perspective to what Harshji said. Imagine a 16-year-old in a city studying in the evening with people around him who are nearly same with his mental level, and his peers is not a number of 500, it's a number of 500,000. That's the ecosystem that's there in Kota. You would imagine a city with nearly 5 lakh people as floating population, and just imagine a city with 500,000 kids. What will be the evenings of those city look like? And it's absolutely the opposite. You don't find any excitement. There's nobody in the malls. There's nobody in the cafes. There's nobody in the restaurants. It's a deserted city. For a simple reason, you killed all the joy for performance. Think, you want humans or just performers? A very warm welcome to the next speaker for today, Miss Karishma Surana, the headmistress for Mahadevi Birla Shishu Vihar, Kolkata, West Bengal, India. Before I invite ma'am, I would typically want her perspective on, you come from a society that appreciates art. They are happy having their kids in humanities. Even then, coaching institutes are able to make their ways through into a city like Kolkata and recruit so many students into the race. A very warm welcome to you, and over to you for the next 3 minutes.
That's true. I come from a state which really values art and culture, but at the same time, the race for IIT and NEET is active here too. Every day, we counsel students who don't attend school because they are heavily involved in the coaching centers. And that's true. Many of the speakers today pointed out that coaching centers today are not just classroom, they have become an industry which is racing for profits. They charge exorbitant amount of fees to parents. And one of my friends, she recently enrolled her daughter into one of the leading coaching institute, and she told me that it doesn't seem like that I'm paying the fees, it feels like I'm buying equity shares in this coaching brand. So a situation has become something like this. So I am very glad that I was provided this opportunity to speak on this topic. I would like to raise three important concerns with the coaching issues. Number one is we need some regulatory action on misleading ads. I'm sure every day when we scroll through newspaper or through social media or when we are traveling from office to home, we see huge billboards of these coaching centers proclaiming to have toppers, proclaiming to produce toppers and excellent results in competitive examination. So much so, sometimes we see the same face on billboards of three different coaching institutes. So something needs to be done for them. There was a law passed, guidelines for the prevention of misleading advertisement in the coaching sector 2024. But I don't see much impact has come by just passing the law. It has to be strictly monitored. Okay, parents should not be given misleading information and putting their child into the pressure of coaching institute. Number two point which I would like to raise here is the focus on student mental health and safety. Thousands of students travel to Kota, to Delhi to be a part of coaching institute. Getting into this coaching institute is also a great pressure where they have to pass various examination, entrance test, and when they go there, they don't get any kind of mental health support. I think a law need to be passed. Just like we have counselors in school, there should be a compulsory counselor in each coaching institute too, to help out outstation students at least. And number three point which I would like to raise is building and infrastructure concerns. Sometimes coaching institutes are built in buildings which do not have the required regulatory procedures passed.
Thank you so much, Karishma ma'am. The most important point that we can take in the conversation ahead. The first 3 minutes were over, but we'll try to come back to you. So I think a very important point that you made, coaching institutes are right now, becoming the drug of the education space. So why is the government really letting them advertise? And that also with misleading content. Why are we making this the great Indian dream that we want to get into an IIT? The way America defined the great American dream of getting a house of your own in the US, having an amazing life ahead. Why do we equate an amazing future only with getting into an institute? That's all. It could be an access to opportunity, but it cannot be something that touches you and you become gold. That's something that's not happening. Then why are we letting these brands really promote this small little concept? Get into this institute, your life is sorted. Why has this been so amazingly branded, marketed, and set in the minds of so many current and future parents? That's a phenomena that law can really stop. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Thomas P. Thomas, the administrator for British International School from Lubumbashi, Republic of Congo. I hope I pronounced the city name right. A very warm welcome to you, sir. The next 3 minutes are yours.
Thank you so much. A warm good evening to one and all present here. As far as our topic is concerned, I would say that it's a boon. Actually, the coaching centers are a boon just because the schools are not able to provide what is expected by the parents and students. And it is just because of that parents are after the coaching centers. So the teaching learning process is not completed in schools. That's what I understand. That is the very reason the students are looking for coaching centers. So there is a rapid increase in the private coaching centers for the past few years. And I hope all of you know that 25 lakh students appear for the exam and around only 1 lakh students get merit seats, So see the difficulty the parents and students are going to face, and the coaching centers are making a lot of money out of that. And I would like to say that the coaching centers must be able to say that the students who come to our institute will get a merit seat. Why are not they able to say that? So I think a law must be provided where at least 20 to 30% of students who come to the coaching center must get a merit seat. So this is one thing which should be done, and I think we should all together do something about that. And again, the study hours of the students, it is about 10 to 14 hours. Can you imagine of that? 10 to 14 hours the students are spending, and I would like to say that they are at gunpoint. And there are there are many people watching them, and sometimes I used to wonder whether they are breathing even. So they are not able to breathe even. Yeah, such kind of situations are they in. So the students, their physical stability is not being met. So they are not able to go out to play. They are not allowed to play outside, and they are not able to use any gadgets. And they have no connection with the outside world, and there is no updation of the news even. So they are full time with the books and only books. And the mental pressure the students are facing, I have seen that many students are not able to get good mark. The coaching centers, what they do when they take internal assessments, they give lot of marks so that there are no dropouts. Am I correct? There are no dropouts, because if they drop out, they don't get the money. So they give a lot of mark, but once it comes to the final exam, the students are not able to spend farewell. And what happens? Suicide rate is getting high, and parents are having a lot of anxiety, and the parents are struggling. You know, the parents, many parents lose their livelihood, and they are selling their property so that the students, their children get good education. So they are also in anxiety. Parents are also in anxiety. So thank you so much for giving me this chance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I think a very important point that must be a part of this conversation. What's the business model for these coaching institutes? I would not like to quote it, but when I was really sitting in front of one of the owners of these coaching institutes around 2 or 3 years back, they explained to me the simple model that works for them as a business, that we have 2% rankers. The 98% are bankers. They have just to be held back in the institute, kept happy so that the money keeps flowing. So that's the business model that we are really talking about here. Does it help you as a parent when you listen to this? Does it make you feel comfortable, or does it give you some sort of a discomfort? Is something that you have to evaluate. So it's now time to actually listen to the teenagers on what do they think on the topic. What can law really do when we talk about coaching? Let me invite Miss Manisha Malviya, who's a grade 12 student from Mansarovar, the school from Betul, Madhya Pradesh, India. Over to you, and a very warm welcome. The next 3 minutes are yours.
Cool. I would like to start with a small imagination. Imagine a teenager carrying two bags, one filled with books and the other filled with stress. Unfortunately, the second one feels us more heavier. So, on this note, I would like to start sharing my thoughts on today's topic. So, originally, the coaching center was started with a positive aim to support the students in competitive examination, provide extra guidance to them, and provide some study materials. But slowly, the coaching centers are converting themselves into pressure factories because of many various reasons. Some of them are frequent tests, long hour of the classes, and competitive environment have made us mentally affected. The another reason is that school versus coaching. In the school and the coaching, there are different things taught at the same time, due to which the stress are made among us, and when the this stress is explored, we are mentally affected too much. Now another concern is about the dummy student. When the students opted for dummy, then at that time we the students just take admission in the school and spend the most of their time in the coaching classes, but the problem rises when they appear in the board examination, because the style of the answer expected in the boards and in the coaching are very different. So even hardworking students sometimes fails or score poorly. So now the question arises this, that can the law step in? Yes, definitely the laws can step in, and in some states they have already. But the laws alone are not magic, because still we are suffering from stress. Suicides are not stopping, and many students are mentally affected now also. Now, for what could be the solutions for this? We must focus on cooperative education in both coaching as well as in the school. If this happens, if coaching and school both cooperate with each other, then definitely the learning will made smoother for us. Now, the next thing is that if only the coaching and school cannot help us, parents, society, and school must also cooperate, and actions are required from them. For example, parents should support us instead of comparing. School should focus on conceptual clarity rather than rote learning. And society must broaden the definition of the success that is only limited to IT, JEE, or NEET, because every bright student cannot be fitted in the same molds. Now, I would like to conclude by saying that coaching centers are not villain. The imbalance between the coaching schools, parent, society are the main villains. So if the coaching, parents, everyone works together, then definitely we can the coachings can guide us again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's really important to identify who's the villain in this story, who's the protagonist and who's the antagonist. You're very right when you say society is in some way the antagonist or the villain. And most importantly, I would not want to say it out loud, but that's the reality. The parent becomes the final villain. Because the point is, when you look at education, the consumer of the product and the customer of the product are different. And the consumer has absolutely no power on deciding who becomes the customer of which institution. So at the end of the day, the buck really stops on the parent. But will it be really, fair to say the parent is the villain? Because at the end of the day, we gave them the space to be there. We gave them what Mr. Thomas really, nicely quoted it out. Since the performance could not be achieved with schools, coaching came in and found their success. So is parent the villain, or there's something else lying under some sheets that we'll try to figure out? Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Miss Riya Murlidharan, who's a grade 11 student from Brindavan Public School, Kunnur, Nilgiris, Tamil Nadu, India. Riya, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Riya Murlidharan, and I'm here to talk about the issue. Can coaching centers, because they're causing stress, what can we do? Can the law step in? Let me begin with a simple truth. Almost every teenager today is living in a world full of competition, whether it is entrance exams, standardized tests, or university admissions. The pressure to perform is immense, and the teachers and the parents are not helping us out. Coaching centers, which are meant to support students, are now pressurizing them. They promise success, but at what cost? At the cost of a student's peace of mind. Think about this. You're going to the class, spending hours over there, and then later on, when you come back home, you don't go rest. You go sit and study again at a coaching center. Where is the time to play, to explore hobbies, or even just to rest, which I love to do? So many teenagers find themselves stuck in a cycle of textbooks, mock tests, and assignments. Instead of learning with curiosity and interest, education is turning it into a race for survival. That only if you study well, you can come up in life and achieve something, which isn't true. This constant grind creates anxiety, stress, and in extreme cases, even depression, which lead the student to commit suicide. Now comes the important question. Can law step in to help us? Personally, I believe yes, it can and it should. Governments have a responsibility to protect us young people from exploitation and from environments that damage our mental health. The law can limit the number of coaching hours per day, as many people told, make counseling and mental health support compulsory in every coaching center and not shun it, regulate the fees so that facilities are not under families are not under unnecessary financial pressure, and ensure that coaching institutions are transparent and don't offer sky high fees that the parents are unable to pay. But let me also say this, laws are not enough. That is evident. Laws can't come and help a child who is crying or in depression, as another person told. Change has to be within a society. Change has to start from another person to another. It has to start from families as well. Parents must understand that every child is unique in their own way. So I would like to conclude that the society, parents, and teachers should understand that each and every student is unique in their own way and that they can achieve things in their own time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ria. We really need a lot of understanding, a lot of conversation around this within the household. And I think the dream has to be broken down. It cannot be if you get into an institute, there's only success for you at the end of it. You can see these coaching institutes are not really enriching a student academically. They're hacking the examination. They're giving you tricks to get through an examination, which you are not, or you might not be even capable of. You might have better things to do in life. But since you have chosen the dream, they're right now working to commercialize the dream for themselves. Thank you so much, Ria. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Vaibhav Patil, the CEO for Sri Sankalpana Foundation's Achievers Universal School from Nashik, Maharashtra, India. Vaibhavji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Hope I am audible now. Yeah, thank you. When I went through this topic, I remember a dialogue from one of the famous movies. Life is a race. If you don't run fast, you will be a broken anda. And that moment, I started finding out what could be the reasons. And then, unfortunately, facts and figures came in front of me. Last 5 years, if you calculate more than 13,000 students, and out of those 13,000 students per year, more than 70% students are below 18 years and they have committed suicide. And then the parent, the administration, the government, everyone got alarming call. Now we should look into this matter and we should find out the reasons. And finally, we started making laws. But till date, we have lost so many lives. And when I'm working in a rural area of Nashik district, where I started looking also, because while talking with the parents, the coaching, the word classes has started engulfing the life of a child from early childhood stage. I could see a child of LKG, UKG also is attending a classes now. Here we are talking about JE NEET, but the we can say the dark side of this institution or this coaching, and the school should think over this. The culture which the schools are developing, they're saying holistic development, NEP 2020, we are implementing all these things, but the child is a soft target for everyone. And finally, a parent who has a single child loses his child, his life, or sometimes he do not get it back. What are the possible things? What are the problems of this? Because after getting into these coaching institutes, the child faces the problem of adaptation and adaptation. He does not have, or she does not have, a time management skills. The self-confidence is going low because first time they are living away from their family. They don't have a plan to execute. Even after plan A fails, they don't prepare themselves for plan B. And moreover, we are there to make the laws. Out of 30 states, only less than 10 states have their own laws. But when I visited Gujarat, there I found a beautiful culture of coaching. Till 2 o'clock, no coaching center is allowed to be opened. Till 2 o'clock, only the child has to go to the college, and college attendance is compulsory. And after that, coaching institute starts their coaching from 3 to 9 or 10 o'clock. This is how they have started implementing this, but coaching centers should not encourage dummy practices. And
thank you so much, Vaibhavji. I think the good suggestion that you gave at the end that the government might be implementing, that till a particular point of time, you won't be able to start the coaching institute. I think one of the major points that should come out of this discussion is the genesis of coaching. Why did a coaching center or a coaching institute or a learning center really come into existence? Because the expectation that a parent had from a school could not be met. That's where it really came into existence. And with that happening, coaching institutes started cannibalizing schools. They started poaching the best talent from schools. That's where they got the best teachers. You can see the system unfolding in front of you, and you cannot expect a student to respond. The people responsible, the people in power will always have to respond, whether by legislation or by choice or by decisions. We have to really think the buck does not really stop on the parent or the school or the child. The buck stops on every single individual who is ready to accept the fact that 13,000 suicides are a collateral damage to performance. Are we really that dumb, or are we really that intelligent that such suicides look like collateral damage to us and not a dent in our future? Thank you so much everyone for contributing. This was the 263rd episode of the Blub World Web Talks. I hope you enjoyed, and most importantly, I hope you could all have a far more meaningful conversation after this session comes to an end, because that little conversation that you might have is far more critical, far more important than whatever we talked about in the last 50 minutes. Thank you so much everyone for being a part of the session. It was amazing to listen to all of you. Such amazing thoughts came out. Thank you so much everyone. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to the organizer. It was really wonderful.
Thank you.
And special acknowledgement to the two students. They spoke really well.
Thank you, ma'am.
I guess they deserve a huge round of applause.
True.
The way they put up their
And clarity of thought, it's really wonderful. Both of them.
I also
Riya
thank
and
everyone
Kanisha,
for
well
sharing
done.
their points. I was able to learn a lot today. So thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming to talk so that I could learn something. Hopefully,
And thank you, Daksh, for conducting it so well planned and so organized. It was really a wonderful experience.
Thank you so much everyone. Thank you so much. It's so
Thank you.
important.
Good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for taking out the time. It was an amazing interaction.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.